We're in beautiful Bruce Township, Michigan. On a big sprawling lot with beautiful trees. This is why we're here. All the land slopes this way. There's high ground for as far as the eye can see. The street is on a downward angle. The property comes like this as well. There's no way for the water to find its way out of here. We got downspouts, so we got rooftop water being dumped here too. So we have the area of the roof, we have all this acreage. Now there's a swale down the side. Even the side yard, it's sloped this way. So everything comes this way. Everything's coming this way. Everything's swaled this way. So what we're going to do is we're going to run a French drain grid. We're going to have a line here, 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 and a line there. We're going to tighten up this area and we're going to gather up all this water. We got the 2 sprinkler boxes here, so we got all those mains. So we know we're going to run into a lot of sprinkler lines. Sometimes it's worth hand digging. When you find all those mains right near the box, better off hand digging in most cases. So we're going to collect up all this water. In its deepest spot, it's probably 5 inches. Every bit of 4 inches for sure. You know, our first line is through here. I like to put a line where it's the deepest. This is definitely the deepest right in here. I'd move that line over here, come through here. These are extended. Those parallel runs are extended, so they're going to grab up the water that's there. Over here, I wouldn't bother with that line. Again, line in the center there. You know, go right through the heart of it. Line right there. Your 2 parallels will take care of a lot of this. When there is absolutely no way you're going to gravity drain water, you have to go to an outdoor sump pump system. We're going to use a half-horse M98 Zoller because there's a lot of water coming from all the surrounding land, and we want to make sure that when there's flood water, that our pump is keeping up with it. We build an extra heavy-duty custom outdoor sump pump basin for our system. I'm going to go over that and I'm going to show you all the details. This video is going to be an A through Z full tutorial on how to do something like this. If you don't jump around and you watch this entire video, you'll know how to do one of these installations. All right, guys, we got to jump on this. We got rain coming for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. This is as good as it gets. Looks real good. Last time I was here was 5 days ago. So we've had nothing but wind and sun, and it's time to jump on this for the most part. The site's workable. I'll show you what this looks like when it's underwater so you know where to. We then have a 100-foot discharge to the ditch, which is on the other side of those evergreen trees. We're going to run a 1-piece discharge line. No glue joints, no fittings, 1-piece discharge line, leaving nothing to chance. 100-foot discharge line all the way out to this ditch. We got a hand dig right here because we have Comcast, we have AT&T for communication lines, and then we have 3 electrical lines. So our line's going to be shallow. We're going to hand dig. We're going to deposit all that water right here in the ditch. We're going to put that water where it belongs. We never use an indoor sump pump pit outdoors. We use a dual wall culvert pipe, and we have these 1/2-inch inlets to take in the water. We want to have a chamber that holds a lot of water so that we don't short cycle the pump. We're also not going to use a check valve because we don't want to worry about check valve failure. When a check valve fails, it'll also short cycle a pump and burn it out. This is welded together. This is dual wall culvert pipe. There's not a stronger sump pump basin anywhere. This is it. That's the strongest you can possibly make them and build them. We're actually going to add 7 feet of chamber to that. This is a really large system. We have 240 feet of French drain. We ran it right in the collection area. We want to grab up all the water. This run was so long that we got pretty deep. We went from 2 pipes to 4 pipes. When you start getting deeper because you're adding slope to the bottom of your trench, it is so much easier to add more pipe than it is to add more stone. Your horizontal dry well, aka French drain, will hold more water. It'll have a larger capacity if you're using pipe to fill the area versus stone, because you'll have more voids. Now, if you dig up a sprinkler line and you see a wiring harness like this, do not cut it. There are 15 valve wires in there. If you cut it, you just made work for yourself. So be careful with those wiring harnesses. Each wire goes to one of your valves that opens your zones, and then that goes to the clock, so the clock can turn each valve open when it's time to run through that zone. Now, this was a branch that went to the trunk line, and the trunk line is much deeper. You can see how it just drops into the trunk line. You don't have to meet at the bottom of the trunk line depth with your branched out French drain. When you're running branches to a trunk line, you can go as shallow as you can get away with. We start them 2 pipes deep, and then we do our slope. And we just let that dictate how deep they end up. Now, there's 4 pipes right here. That's how deep we are. And because it's 240 feet, our 100-foot rolls of pipe ran out right here, and we're using external couplers versus internal couplers. The only reason why internal couplers exist for corrugated pipe is because when they're putting in agricultural drainage, they come off spools and they go through a tile plow. And if you put an external coupler on, it'll get caught. So they had to come up with these internal couplers. But now they've been, just misused. When Home Depot has them on the shelf, and that's what homeowners are buying, now you have an obstruction in your drain system, and debris and garbage can get caught on it. So always use an external coupler. Those internal couplers were just for farm ag. That was it, for doing agricultural drainage. Now always cap the end of your pipe so that it doesn't fill with stone. And if you're going to use an all virgin pipe with no recycled materials, go with an all virgin end cap that's not made of recycled materials, like those right there. So we started 2 pipes deep, and we started our slope. And before you know it, we were into 4 pipes deep. And at the very end of this system, we were at 5 pipes deep. Now, one of the most important things to a really good French drain, I'm going to point out right now. Where is all the dirt that came out of the trench? Do you see a pile of dirt next to the trench? You do not want to put any of the dirt back in. That'll just slow down your drain. That'll just ruin your drain. That'll give your drain an early expiration date. You want to haul away all the dirt that you excavate out. You don't want to put the dirt back in. If the dirt was any good, we probably wouldn't be here in the first place. The dirt was heavy clay. It was non-permeable soil. We hauled it all away. We had 2 20-yard dump trailers, gooseneck dump trailers, and then we had a 5-yard dump truck, and we filled them all. This was a big job. Near 1,000 feet of pipe went in the trench. No dirt went back into that trench. Now we're going to show you every connection. We're going to show you all the details to this outdoor sump pump system. We used a 3 5/8 hole saw for our white 3-inch pipe. We installed a leaf filter on the downspout, so we don't have to worry about this downspout clogging our sump pump. It's best to just pipe this right in. If you got downspouts, or if you have a catch basin on a solid pipe, tie them right into your outdoor sump pump basin. Now look at that 7 feet of chamber we have on that. And this is important. Look at how we drop. Your sump pump pit has to be 12 inches deeper than your French drain trench. Now the men took a hole saw, a 5-inch hole saw, and they knocked out the top of that grate. We're going to hook a solid pipe right there that has catch basins on it. The reason why you want your sump pump basin 12 inches below the bottom of your French drain trench is because it takes 10 inches of water to turn on your outdoor sump pump. And it's sitting in a basin that has it lifted off the ground 1.5 inches. So you need to be 12 inches below the bottom of your French drain trench so that you don't hold water in your French drain trench. Otherwise, if it was the same height, you'd have up to 10 inches of water in your French drain trench before the sump pump would turn on and then pump it all down. This is a really large system. This was a 7-man crew. We did the install in 1 day. This was the only job we did that day. People always want to know, what do you charge for a job like this? A job like this is going to be in the neighborhood of $15,000. We came in with 5 trucks, 5 trailers, a 7-man crew, and we were equipped with the very best materials and supplies that the homeowner's money could possibly buy them. We guarantee that we're going to build a system that will last a lifetime. A wise man once told me, if you're going to use a really strong, good corrugated pipe, then you have to use really strong, good fittings too. So we use non-recycled virgin couplers. We're really happy with this external coupler because we don't have to tape it on. And look at this, one hand, just like that, and it will not come off. Keep in mind that all streets have slope. So you can measure the bottom of this ditch or your street and find out what direction it drops down for drainage. And then you could run the discharge line to an area where you have more fall. When you put in this much pipe for void, for air, when you're running a quad pack and 5 pipes like we have towards the end of this system, you want to use small stone in your French drain trench to lock together all that tubing. You don't want to try to use big stone when you're doing a quad pack. It's not a good idea. You'll end up with a better system if you use 3/4 inch round rock. That way it won't compact, but it'll be tight. It'll fall in between the trench wall and the pipe. This will make it really strong for driving a car over it or driving a big lawnmower over it if you use the smaller stone. And a quad pack has more airspace for pruning tree roots off than 2 pipes on the bottom with larger stone.
So you never want to put a catch basin on a perforated pipe because you're going to get grass blades, bark, sediment. You're going to plug your perforations. You're going to ruin your French drain. So the guys went ahead and they installed a yard drain to grab the surface water because we have so much surface water here. You can see right there, they went ahead and they capped off this end of the catch basin, just put a plug in the perforated pipe so we don't fill it up with stone. Then right here, they taped this really good because we want to grab up all the water and we really don't want it leaking into the French drain system. We want to make sure that the debris that ends up going down in that catch basin can float out. So you don't want to lose your water pressure, your water volume, so you want to tape everything up. We're using French Drain Man 6-inch. This is our full throttle 6-inch. Great, ridiculous. Look at all that inlet. Beautiful job. Taped it up real nice. Look at that. Real nice seal. Look at all that inlet. We opened that right up. There's not another catch basin or 6-inch grate on the market that's going to flow as much water as this setup will. Right here, the men tied that solid pipe right into the sump system. Take your solid pipes right to the sump system. That way, if you're floating some debris, it don't fill your sump pit up with debris, and the pump can handle it. Just throw your perforated pipe right on top. The water's just going to fall out. It'll go right into the big holes. They're on the sump pump system. The big half-inch inlets on the grate. Beautiful job here. We're catching the leaves so we don't clog our system. Any sediment that washes through is just going to fall here, get pumped right out. Running the discharge to the ditch. We're going to take care of this water problem once and for all. This homeowner's got beautiful property. And this is that one thing that's been just frustrating. You know, they have 3 dogs. And you can't come back here during the rainy season. This holds water. Super easy to get your yard back. If you're tired of that flooded yard and you want to get your yard back, this is it. It's no big deal. Even houses on hills, because this house has got real good elevation. There's this rolling land, and you end up on rolling land with these little pockets where the water on these big properties gets trapped. We got a hill over here, so the water can't get out the side lot. The grade goes up towards the ditch, but you don't want to take down the ditch bank because you don't want the ditch water to flood your yard. So you got to be careful what you do. We don't have any trees back here, so we're not trying to air prune nothing off. So we're going with the smaller stone. We don't have to air prune tree roots, so I prefer to use smaller stone. Everything's with a purpose. The smaller stone locks all the tubing up really nice, makes for a really strong, secure system. We're really deep by the time we get down here. It doesn't look it, but we're running a quad pack. Got 2 lines down there, and we got 2 lines up top. When you're building quad packs, the smaller stone is how you lock up all that tubing. Guys are right behind the men with sand. You can see how it's an assembly line. This is a well-oiled machine. These guys, hardcore. So you got someone dumping a stone, somebody leveling the stone out, somebody pinning the fabric. You got somebody putting the sand down. You got somebody putting the sod back. We do 2 small jobs in a day or 1 big job in a day. But you have to be organized. You have to have a crew that's used to working together. You have to have an implemented system. You just can't be randomly walking around a job site. It's just not going to happen like that. It's going to be painful, and it's going to take 10 times as long. The more pipe and stone you have in your French drain, the better the French drain will work. Notice how none of the dirt went back in. It's all pipe and stone, and it's 2 pipe wide.
If you build your French drain on a tolerance where it has to fit 2 pipes, you got to figure it's a 4-inch pipe. The outside diameter is going to be 4.5 inches. We have 2 4.5-inch outside diameter pipes that fit in the trench. If we hold ourselves to that tolerance, we have a better French drain. 1 in 3 French drains that we put in are to replace a failed French drain system. So we know what failure looks like. A single pipe French drain fails. You just don't have enough stone in the trench. You have 1 pipe, it's 4.5 inches wide, outside diameter, and then you have some stone. That's it. Very narrow. Usually they just make it with a 6-inch groove. A typical trencher that you rent will have a 6-inch trench that it'll trench in the yard. Look how wide this trench is for 2 pipes, and look at all the stone that's going in. Now, remember, the guys that are using 1 pipe are also putting some of the dirt back in. So how much pipe and stone do you really get?
So these lines are really shallow. We just have 2 pipes right here. You start your line out really shallow, and then as you get closer to the sump system, you go deeper. So this was a nice shallow dig, which worked out great because we had all those sprinkler mains. Trench that runs down the property in that swale, it gets quite deep. So then these just drop right off in it. You're trying to get deeper when you put slope on the trench. So you're trying to start as shallow as you possibly can. I see a new part. I see a prototype. They're up to something. So that works out good. A catch basin with 1 riser seems to be like the magic height, huh? From what you guys learned?
That one may be too low.
No, I'm good with low. Low is how water finds the dang thing. If it's the lowest point of the whole yard, we're going to catch every drop. It looks good. I'm glad that it works really well with 1 riser. Yeah.
Like 2 pipes because I'm start over there shallow because over here is more high.
Oh, I seen it, dude. You're deep over here, which is good.
I dig shallow to pitch this.
The magic ingredient is the width. When you take it to 2 pipes wide, they work spectacular.
Shallow 2 pipe system right here. The whole system has slope. You got this outside run that slopes to the outdoor sump pump system. And then you have this really long run. That's the inside line. It's really deep. This ain't gonna hold no water, I can tell you that. The smaller stone shovels so much easier. And if you're a contractor, you'll already know this, but the bigger stone wears out your shovels super fast. It's hard on tools. Now, if they ever have a power outage, this chamber holds a lot of water, and this entire system is a giant horizontal dry well. If a power outage occurs, this system will hold thousands of gallons of water, and I doubt they're ever going to see any surface water. Once the power is restored, the pump will turn on automatically and it'll do its job. See how shallow the system is? They added a 3rd pipe, and it's right there at the top of the stone. We finally got deeper. Started out super shallow right here, finally got deep enough to add a 3rd pipe right there. This is why we cap off the pipes. That way they don't fill full of stone on the end.
You'll have to cut a piece of fabric and lay it over the gap at the top, because when you're building a system this wide and you're trying to put slope on the bottom of your trench and you're getting deeper, you're going to exceed the width of a 5 and even sometimes a 6 foot wide fabric. So you just cut an extra piece of fabric out, put it on top. All the sand you see the men putting on top of the French drain fabric is so that we don't clog the French drain fabric. We want good infiltration. French drains are really built for subsurface water, but we want to build them for surface water. And when we have excessive surface water, we put in an inlet basin on a solid pipe. Never put a catch basin on a perforated pipe. You'll plug all your perforations. Always stand on your French drain pipe or hold it down with a shovel when there's stone being poured on top of the corrugated pipe. You don't want stone to get underneath your pipe, and then it's going to mess up your perfect slope that you worked so hard for. So stand on the pipe or hold it down with a shovel when you're pouring the stone on top of it. The reason why most French drains fail is because the contractor wasn't equipped to haul out all the dirt. So he didn't want to do 2 pipes wide. Everybody in the business knows if you go 2 pipes wide, you build a French drain that's going to last forever. But you're going to have to haul out more dirt. And everybody knows, unless you're going to put some of that dirt back in, you're going to have to buy a big dump truck. So when you hire the guy who has a van with a utility trailer, how good of a French drain do you really expect to get from a guy in a van with a utility trailer? He's not going to want to haul any dirt away. He's going to keep it to 1 pipe wide, and he's going to try to put most of the dirt back in. Take a really good look at this French drain. You can see Francisco standing on the French drain. Look at all the stone on top of the 2 pipes. Well, that's a quad pack. There's 2 pipes stacked on 2 pipes. Then we go ahead and we put sand on top of the non-woven geotextile filter fabric so that we can get more surface water infiltration. If you're not trying for surface water, you don't have to do that. Here are the 4 things that you need to know if you want to build a French drain that's going to last a lifetime. You want to build it 2 pipes wide. You want to dig out all the dirt and haul all the dirt away. Do not put any of the dirt back in. You want a good non-woven geotextile filter fabric that has been punched so that you can keep all that stone and pipe from clogging from the subsurface soil. You need a soil separator. And then you need some slope at the discharge end, bare minimum, some slope at the discharge end, so the water can fall out of the French drain trench. That is the only 4 things you need to know when building a French drain. We don't need to overcomplicate things. Guaranteed to last a lifetime. Notice how we went to bigger stone right here. You can see the smaller stone that's over the French drain, and then you can see the large 1.5-inch round rock that we put on our outdoor sump pump system. We don't want small stone to end up inside our outdoor sump pump pit because that would ruin the impeller in our sump pump. We know all the failure modes, and we want to stay away from anything that could result in failure. Large stone for your outdoor sump pump pit. That way small stone don't end up in those big grates for taking in the water. Nobody builds a sump pump that can chew on rocks without resulting in failure. We really give our clients their money's worth. We haul all that dirt away, and then we have to bring in all this material. And we don't stop there, because if we don't get this discharge line right, all this hard work and all this money spent to haul out dirt and to haul in rock would be for nothing. We're going to sleeve our discharge line to protect it from aeration, heavy lawnmowers, vehicle traffic. We're going to use a one-piece, 1.5-inch flexible Schedule 40. We're going to start out with a 100-foot roll, and we will have to add about 15 feet to it because this line ended up at about 115 feet total length from the outdoor sump pump pit to the ditch. The last 15 feet will actually be pitched downward towards the ditch. We got 7 foot of chamber so that when our sump pump turns off, whatever's left for water in the line can run back down into the chamber. I don't like using check valves. If you build your system relying on check valves, when the check valve fails, it will short cycle the pump and burn it out. Outdoor sump pumps are not like indoor sump pumps where you hear them being short cycled. So that's something that's happening out in the yard. Nobody's paying attention to it. And then when you need your outdoor sump pump system to work, it's not going to. So that's why I do not like check valves. I build my systems with extra chamber so that the water that's left in the line can come back into the chamber. It doesn't short cycle the pump because the chamber displaces more water and it takes more water to turn on the pump. Now you can see that little 1.5 inch, it's like licorice. That Schedule 40 flex, I love working with it because you don't have to have any glue joints. 100 feet of continuous pipe, no leaks, don't have to worry about anything. But you have to lay it in a sleeve. Now, I prefer to go PVC free any chance I can. So we're using dual wall culvert pipe, a 4-inch dual wall pipe for our sleeve. You can use 3-inch Schedule 40 for this 1.5 inch flex if you want. And we have, and we do. But when I can get enough drop to use this 4-inch pipe, I prefer to use the dual wall. It's easier to work with and it's better for the environment. Not only does a sleeve protect it from an aerator, or if somebody goes to plant a tree or a shrub in the yard, I don't have to worry about them going through the discharge line. But here in the north, where we have freeze-ups, that little line, you see how it's just coming off the coil and it's very flexible. You're going to have bellies everywhere if you don't lay it in a sleeve. So you want to sleeve it. We use these external couplers to put 20-foot pieces of dual wall together. So this sleeve goes together really quick, really easy. And now I don't have to worry about this 1.5 inch flex, Schedule 40. I don't have to worry about it having all these little imperfections through that entire run where it has bellies that will freeze up in the wintertime. We analyze all elements of failure, and we build a system that will eliminate all those elements. The bottom of this trench is as flat as it could be. It's just perfect. And when you run that pipe in a sleeve, man, that's money. You're not going to have any problems with that discharge line. Everything's riding on this discharge line. All that hard work is for nothing. We had to add 15 feet. When you do that, put the lugs of the screw clamps upwards so that you don't have this hump when you lay it in your sleeve. I learned all these things because homeowners had to call me and have me come to their house and look at a failed outdoor sump pump system. And I would see what other contractors were doing and why it failed. And this was years ago. I was a young contractor at the time, and I could see all the different things that were causing failure. And we got a reputation for doing these outdoor sump pump systems. We're one of the very few guys that get them right. We pay attention to the details. We put the time into the details. And we don't make out like bandits. Customers get their money's worth in labor and materials. I think this job is a bargain for $15,000. When you look at labor and material costs in 2024, so we're going to daylight this, and we're going to miter cut the end so it matches the slope of the ditch embankment. This is a great cutaway of dual wall pipe and what it looks like. Corrugated on the outside, smooth on the inside, really strong, made out of HDPE. Now we went ahead and we installed a critter guard inside of this. I'm not worried about an animal building a nest because I know the sump pump is just going to shoot it right out when it turns on. But I am worried about an animal chewing on the sump pump discharge line. I don't know why, but animals love chewing on this material. That dual wall pipe doesn't come virgin. It only comes recycled. So we want to keep animals out of there.
I hear it. There goes.
When you end the 1.5-inch flexible Schedule 40 short and you let the water just pour in the 4-inch sleeve, it displaces over a greater area, so it mellows it out. That was a pretty good flow of water because that was an M98 Zoller sump pump, and it emptied that 7-foot chamber in a hurry. If you found any of this information helpful, give us a thumbs up. It supports the channel. If you have any questions regarding outdoor sump pump systems, leave them in the comments section. I'm your host, Robert Sherwood, and until the next video.